Okay. Thank you. Did you call me English? I'm American. Make that mistake. I've lived there for 13 years, but I still have my accent. So, thank you very much for the invitation to come here and talk to you guys today. It's just great to be in a country where your team is winning. It's so depressed in England at the moment. All the flags are coming down, and so last night you walk around, you could just feel the energy in the streets, and we were laughing because apparently it's the quiet night. Monday night's the quiet night. We're like, God, if it's a quiet night on Monday night, what does a busy night look like in Madrid? But it was an early night. We got to bed, I think, around midnight. And I remember a couple of years ago going on Bea, and the team, about 1 o'clock in the morning, she said, Norm, I'm so sorry, it's going to be an early night. I have to go home tonight. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. What does a long night look like? So it's always lovely to come to Spain. So thank you so much for the invitation. I'm not here to talk about the World Cup. I'm here to talk about digital. Does anybody recognize what this is? This is a little interactive part of the presentation. Anybody want to do this? This is the first online banner back from 1994 at my old agency, an agency called Moda Media. It was the first digital agency. I joined in 1995. And yeah, it's the first ad put up for a company called AT&T. And the thing that you'll notice, first and foremost, is that it really sucks. It's terrible. It's really awful. And we thought this was groundbreaking back at the time. But it's pretty dull. Thank God things have moved on pretty dramatically over the last 15 years. And, you know, 15 years ago, we would have never guessed that we would have, A, elected this guy, an African-American, to be president of the U.S. Thank God for that. We finally got rid of George Bush, which took us a while to get there, but we finally did. And second of all, more people actually watched his inauguration online than on television. Now, that may have something to do with the fact that it was on during the day, and most people are at work watching it. But still, great statistic. And this whole rise of online video, which I know Nacho's going to talk, where's Nacho? Nacho's going to talk about a little bit later, has been staggering. YouTube uses the same amount of bandwidth as the entire internet in the year 2000, just to give you some perspective as to how much traffic is coming through YouTube. The BBC iPlayer in the UK is dragging down the internet. There's so much traffic on it. But what's great about this is, you know, through the years, those past 15 years, if I had a euro every time a client said, well, we don't want to spend money on the internet because it doesn't have reach and it doesn't deliver the same emotional impact as television. Now that's changed. So with online video, you can deliver both the emotional impact and obviously with the reach and the broadband usage, you're getting to a much wider audience. The other phenomena is social marketing. Any Facebook users here? Who's on Facebook? A few of you, come on, raise your hands. You can admit it's not a bad thing. We can all friend each other a little bit later on today. It'll be very exciting. I'm sure you've seen the stat before. It's the third largest country. It's 400 million users, I think close to 450 million users. So all these people spending lots of time in areas like Facebook. 30% of display advertising in the UK is now on Facebook. So obviously the money is migrating into these environments. And yeah, I think this is such a great statistic. I was in China recently giving this presentation. And somebody afterwards came up and said, we've got a social networking site called QQ. There are 500 million people on that site, so obviously dwarfed by the Chinese market. And a lot of that social activity is happening with the mobile phones. And Tam's going to get to come up a little bit later and talk about mobile in depth. But I always get the question, you know, is it the year of mobile? And Tam says yes. I think the answer is probably more like it's the decade of mobile. I mean, something has really happened over the past 6 months. Google has acquired a company called AdMob for $750 million. Apple has bought Quattro for $250 million. Companies like that do not spend a lot of money unless they think something significant is going to happen. And Tam will talk quite a bit about this trifecta of brilliant phones, Apple, LG, smartphones, broadband, same impact that it had on the PC internet happening on mobile phones, and last but not least, flat price planning. So it doesn't cost a fortune to actually surf on your mobile phone. And then finally, Steve's going to talk a little bit about data. And data really sort of underlies all this activity. And this, I don't know if you can read it, but this is a really good reason why you should not friend your boss. So this is a woman who posted something on Facebook saying, oh my God, I hate my job. My boss is a total pervy wanker, always making me do shit stuff just to piss me off. The boss promptly replied, "Don't bother coming to work tomorrow, you've been fired." So please keep this in mind. But we have this bizarre phenomena, I don't know if any of you do this, where people literally post, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook, everything they're doing. Every 10 minutes is another posting of what they like, where they are, what they're seeing. And there's just a phenomenal amount of data that if we're allowed to use it legally, the EU allows us, and we use it in an intelligent way, it gives us an unbelievable ability to target these people with really relevant content. Sometimes advertising, sometimes content. Steve's going to talk quite a bit about that later today. And then finally, the internet overtakes TV spend. So in the UK, it's up to around 30%. Google's the biggest media owner within the UK right now. Online's overtaking television spend. The same thing's happening in the Nordic countries as well, which is pretty big given, I remember the days when online spend was 1% and 2%. Now we got to 5%. We thought this is wonderful. So things have changed, and the world is more complicated than it ever has been before. And I know sometimes we get beat up on commission levels and lots of pressure around costs, but the rest of your job and our job is harder than it was before. There's more stuff that we have to do in order to deal with mobile, to deal with social networking, to deal with search, to deal with online video. So to make sense of that all, we've come up with a framework for how we organize all these things. And what we've done is we've classified media into 3 different areas: paid, owned, and earned. Paid is the stuff we've always done. We basically go out and buy print, TV spots. It could be search. It could be online video. Owned are the assets that you develop. It could be the Ford website. It could be the Nike website. It's the stuff that you control, that you create. It could be your fan page within Facebook. The earned part you don't control. This is the noise and the chatter around your brand that you can hopefully influence, but at the end of the day, you can't actually control it. It's a derivative of ads in YouTube. So you create an ad, you put it up on YouTube, and people create a million different variations of that ad, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a negative way. And all 3 of those types of media live within this ecosystem. They all work together. It's completely integrated, both offline and online, as well as across paid, owned, and earned. So just to give you an example of what I mean. So say we run an ad on television for Nike, a television spot. We know, because Steve's got the data, there's a correlation between running that TV spot and people searching on that product or in Nike. We can see a huge spike in search traffic coming up on the likes of Google or Bing or whatever it may be. Obviously, the more people that search on your brand, the more people will visit your website. So in this simplistic case here, it's just the Nike website that we're going to. On the owned area, the better that you build your website so people can share it, whether it's dig, delicious, they can like something, they can put it into Facebook, they can put it into YouTube, the more activity you're going to get in your inside. The more people are going to pass your content around, the more people are going to talk about it. And the more noise that you get on the earned side, the more traffic you're going to get back to your website through links, whatever it may be. And the more noise that you get on the earned side, the higher your search rankings are. So Google doesn't talk about this, but on your search page, 80% of the clicks on that page come through organic search. They don't come through the paid side. It's just how well you optimize your own content and how many links you get on the earned side. So all of this is really highly integrated. That's not to say that Mindshare will do all of this, and we'd love to do it all for you, and we can, but obviously you're going to have other agencies involved, but you need to look at it holistically. You need to measure it holistically, and you need to optimize it holistically. And if you do that, you will get exponential returns on your activity versus if you treat it as a silo. Now, all of this content, has anybody heard of cloud computing? Am I going to go way off the ranch here now? So sort of, A, it's in English, B, it's an Ohio accent, and C, I'm talking about the cloud. Jose Maria is wondering what the hell I'm talking about right now. Has anybody heard of cloud computing? So there's this notion of cloud computing and all content residing in the cloud. And what it essentially means is all content resides on the internet. Everything is accessible. And as devices become connected to the cloud, become connected to the internet, you can basically get any content anywhere that you want, whether it's on your mobile phone, it's on the PC, or increasingly on television. And those would be the three primary devices that you'll use to access this content on the cloud. Now I'm going to talk a little bit, this may sound really strange, I'm going to talk about television, which you probably didn't expect from a digital day, but I'm going to talk a little bit about TV. TV's not dead. It's struggling a little bit in Spain, I know that. But TV in itself, broadly speaking, is not dead. In fact, if you look at the data, we were watching 1 more hour of television than we did 10 years ago. So people are actually watching more TV than ever before. If you look at the most recent EIAA data, so this is a digital research company, teenagers, of all people, are watching more television than any other medium at the moment. So TV is not dead by any stretch of the imagination. The #1 discussed topic on Facebook is television. So people watching the X Factor, Pop Idol, I'm not sure what you call it here in Spain, going on to Facebook to talk a little bit about what's happening on TV. That's not to say that TV advertising is the same. So I think people are watching more TV content, but not necessarily watching more TV advertising. I think TV advertising is struggling a bit with PVRs and video recorders, if you will, digital video recorders, so people passing the TV advertising. But what excites me about television is that it's going through massive reinvention. TV as we know it today will be completely different 5 years from now, as it becomes connected to that cloud, as it becomes digitally connected. So you may be wondering what the hell I'm talking about, how that's going to work. I'm going to show you a very quick video from Microsoft. Has anybody seen Project Natal, which is now known as Kinect? It's the new Xbox gaming console that's going to come out, which will fundamentally change the way that you interact with television. And I'll show you a video so you have an idea what I'm talking about.
So, you've come back for more, Ian.
Yep, let's do it.
This should be good. Let's begin.
Your tires are toast. Go to the pits.
Alright, I'm going in.
Okay, I'm ready.
I can tell you something, David. You can't recreate a finale like we've seen in this championship. She sets it up.
Scan. Play.
Cooking for Sarah. Hey, so did you get adjusted to the party yet? No. Oh my gosh, it's in a week. Here, you have to see the one I found for you. That's the one. I love it. You should get it. See you tonight.
For 500 points, what is the answer? Ian Dixon.
Millard Fillmore.
Millard Fillmore is Correct! Now a 200-point follow-up question for the Beckett family. How many push-ups can Chuck Norris do?
Play movie.
So that gives you an idea of where TV is going. The new Xbox is called Kinect. It's launched later this year. And if you have any interest in advertising on it, please talk to the team who met with Microsoft a couple of weeks ago so we know all the packages and the things you can do on it. We've got a few conversations active right now with some of our clients. So as you can see, that barrier of having the remote control will disappear with voice recognition and sensors that track the movement that you make. So I'm going to take you through a very quick demo of something we put together for a workshop that we did on the future of TV a couple months ago. It's a video, whereas the original demo was slightly different. So you need to pretend that basically it's an atoll, making hand motions to navigate through it. But it basically will show you a little bit about some of the features and how that's relevant to you as advertisers and what you'll be able to do in TV in the future. So the first thing you'll notice is the interface is very different on TV as it comes up. It isn't just one big picture. It looks a lot more like the internet. You've got widgets, utilities. This exists right now. So if you've got an LG client right here built into LG television sets, you've got this capability. So you've got the weather, you've got Facebook, so you've got your friends suggesting programs, TV programs you may want to watch. So highly personalized, customized, knows who you are. Think Amazon. Collaborate. If you like this book, here's another one. Same thing on TV. You like this TV program because they track your behavior, here's another one. Avatar was in 3D. Gordon Ramsay, I'm going to save that later. I want to watch that, but for now I want to check the ski report. And because Kenco knows that this is a household they want to target, I get a good old 30-second spot. Hasn't disappeared, it's still there, just as much as the banners will still exist in 5 years' time. It's just that these 30-second spots will be much more targeted. We'll know the profile on the TV set, we'll know the behavior, so much less wastage, frequency capping, all the things that we do on the internet will be there. We then go to the ski report. This Kenco ad up here. If I want to buy that product, I simply point to it and drag it into my shopping basket. So you have e-commerce capability on your TV set. You can add it into your weekly grocery delivery. Video is interactive, which again you have on places like YouTube right now. So I like the outfit. I'm going to select that. The Burton catalog comes up here. So if I want to buy an outfit that I've seen in that ski video, I can do that right on the television set. But if I just want to watch good old TV, I can do that. So here I'm going to go back to Gordon Ramsay and watch Gordon Ramsay cooking something. But what's great about this is that Kraft has developed something called Kitchen Sync. It's a utility that sits on your TV set. And with that cooking program, Kitchen Sync will compare what's in the recipe and what you have in your kitchen using something called RFID technology and determine what you're missing. And it'll automatically put that into your shopping basket. So a nice utility brought to you by brands. So you still see 30-second ads. You'll have utilities, banners, things along those lines in your TV experience. Highly addressable, interactive, but still good old-fashioned linear TV if you want to watch it from that perspective as well. So that gives you an idea of where TV is going. As I said, there are other screens. Does anybody have an iPad in the room? Nacho's got one. I would expect you to have one, Nacho. They're beautiful. I mean, it's really a stunning experience. So when they come on sale, end of May they went on sale here. Yeah. So I suggest you borrow Nacho's. And given that you're all clients, I presume that he would allow you to borrow his iPad. But it is absolutely stunning. It is one of those things that really opens your eyes. And if you look at Wired magazine at the Times or Sports Illustrated, any of these magazines, it is the future of print. When you look at it, it's just stunning resolution, highly interactive. Print ads suddenly become video and interactive. It's going to happen over time. I mean, obviously, it's I think 1 million. We're shipping about 1 million every month. So the numbers are very low, and obviously the audience you're getting to is not mass reach over time. But 20 years from now, you can see where things are headed. And certainly, the folks at Hearst and Meredith and News Corps are quite serious about this. And again, they see the money leaving print, leaving magazines, going to digital. So the best way to fight that is to create digital editions of print. So Next Issue Media is a consortium in the U.S. where they come together to actually create an advertising platform to put ads into e-magazines and e-print, if you will. Skip that. So all of this content residing up in the cloud, it's pretty great. You've got video, you've got utilities, you've got text, you've got sound, all these things that were quite limited to different devices in the past. The audio-visual was only on TV, utilities only on the internet. I mean, the phone was text messaging. All of that is disappearing. So you now have the ability on any of those devices to deploy different types of content, different shapes, different formats, whatever it may be. Which brings all sorts of new possibilities for brands, for publishers to reinvent themselves, to do things differently. You go to the International Herald Tribune, and I'm sure it's the same with the Spanish newspapers, it doesn't look like a newspaper online. It looks like CNN. It's full of video. And I was last year in the jury at the Valencia Media Festival, and we had the newspaper category, and there were 5 submissions, 3-minute videos, and each video spent 30 seconds on the physical newspaper. And the remaining 2.5 minutes was all about what they're doing online, all about mobile. So you really can't even classify these things anymore as newspapers. They're brands that create particular types of content that get deployed in different ways across devices. And we see the same thing with brands. You know, I always get the question, would anybody go to the website of Philadelphia cream cheese? I mean, you have to think twice about those things, but the answer is, with Kraft in the U.S., and I don't know if anybody's been to Kraft Kitchens, it's the biggest packaged goods website in the U.S. 10 million people go to this website on a sustained, regular basis. And they've completely reinvented themselves. And what they do on this website is cooking recipes, cooking lessons, which is wonderful for me because I don't have a clue what I'm doing. But you can go there and pick up all these tips. And of course, every recipe has Philadelphia cream cheese or Kraft plucked in it. So they're selling more food. They had an iPhone app they were selling for 99 cents that was hugely popular and being downloaded in the U.S. You know, Dell used to enable you to personalize your product. Kleenex enables you to personalize Kleenex boxes. Put your photo up on a Kleenex box. So it's not just communications. It's the broader things you can do with marketing. Nike and iPod. Does anybody have the Nike Plus in their shoes? I mean, they're going into utilities and software now. You're probably from Nike, right? Yeah. No, you're not? Okay. Well, we'll find the Nike person here and find what they've got. And then finally, brands and Unilever folks will know this are getting into branded content. So something that used to be the domain of production companies, because of the internet, because of the ability to create content, different shapes and sizes, you don't need to create 50 minutes of a program. You can do 10-minute bursts online. They've gone into branded content. So there's a program called In the Motherhood, which has been immensely successful in the U.S. It's run for 2 years. So successful, they put it on primetime TV where it didn't do so well on primetime TV. It was more successful online. But I'm just going to show you a little bit of what that's all about.
In the Motherhood, conceived by Suave and Spring.
Come on, guys, it's time. No running in the kitchen. No running in the kitchen.
Why doesn't everyone listen to me? They don't listen.
Okay, what is this?
I don't know. It's pretty gross. It's been there for like a month. Please, I can't get it out. I was going to put a base over it, but I don't really have anything that shape. It's like an amoeba.
You know what? I am no Martha Stewart, but I'm pretty sure when a sponge starts growing fur, you have to get a new one.
Well, then defur it. Oh my God! Hi! Yes, it is a surprise. Wow, look, it's my sister. Oh, fun. Wow. Hey, Sasha. What are you doing in the area?
Well, Daddy had a couple of interviews in the area, and we didn't want him to get lonely, so we thought we'd come along.
You're not planning on moving back to the area, though, you wouldn't do.
Well, you keep your fingers crossed.
Oh, thank God. You finally
Ellie got yourself a housekeeper.
No, that's not. Ellie, yes, Heather's much older sister. Nice to meet you.
She's got a little bit of attitude for a housekeeper. But she speaks very good English, so consider yourself lucky. We're gonna go see the kids.
Isn't she a hoot?
Fun, huh?
Just so much fun. So charming.
Great. Would you actually mind letting me just special legs? You're good at
I will burn you.
Can you make us some lunch, por favor?
Yeah, no comprende.
What's great about that program is it's this mashup that I talked about before. These are all real stories. They're user-generated scripts. We actually ask moms to submit their stories and then professionally filmed it in Hollywood. So again, it's not just about taking the TV model and putting it online. It's about mashing up the different things that we can do, in this case, the interactivity. So I'm going to talk a little bit now about the future before I hand it over to Kieran to talk about social. This is some work that we did in the U.S. in conjunction with Unilever and ESPN, and we can send you the full details of the research if you'd like to get a copy of it. But it was really looking into the future and trying to think of what consumer behavior look like in the year 2015. I've talked a lot about technology and where that's going, but really how will consumers behave in this new world as the cloud comes in place and everything becomes digitally connected. So we interviewed lots of important people. Martin Sorrell, Steve Ballmer from Microsoft was interviewed. Rob Norman, who heads up Group, Jeffrey Cole, who's a professor in California, and really got their viewpoints and basically, based on the data that we got, clustered them in 4 different scenarios. We'll take a vote at the end to see which scenario you think will be the prevalent one. The 4 scenarios were based on this chart. One is attention being very fragmented, people consuming content in lots of different places all over, versus attention being very consolidated. You go to one place to get all your information all the time. On the other axis, it was around access. So people consuming content across multiple devices versus being a little bit more traditional, less disparate as we would have thought. And based on those 4 scenarios, those axes, we created 4 scenarios: tons of Twitter, portal of me, traditional new media, media buffet. Now, tons of Twitter is Kieran Norris's dream. So Kieran being our social guy. This is highly fragmented, highly fluid, high media consumption and appetite, consuming stuff all over the place, but a lot of that coming through social networks. This is where Facebook really becomes much more important. So in other words, a lot of the content and the advertising that you get would come through your friends. Somebody suggesting, take a look at this great Nike ad, for example. And a lot of that's going to happen within mobile phones. So the example that we have here is mobile phone, Facebook site. Somebody's seen a Nike ad and liked it, and that immediately gets shared across their network of friends everywhere. And then on top of that, because we know the location of where they are, because we know that someone's liked that ad, we can then also target them with some additional content. In this case, it's the local Nike shop around the corner, at the very bottom, becoming the mayor of the Nike shop in Oxford. So I don't know if you're familiar with Foursquare. I think we'll talk about it a little bit later, but it's the big new thing this year. Every year is another big new thing, but this is Foursquare is this year's version of that. And you can become mayors. Kieran's actually become the mayor of Mindshare today, so he can tell you during the break how to compete with him to become the mayor of Mindshare if you really like to do that. The second scenario is called Portal of Me, and this is where brands trust just a few brands, and they're willing to give those brands lots of data in order for those brands to bring them content. So this is more the dream scenario of the Yahoos of the world, or the Microsofts of the world, where you basically use their portals, if you will, to customize and personalize it, and they bring all the content to you. And this is very easy for us as advertisers because it makes it simpler to target those individuals within those environments. And what you'll also see then is those trusted brands being carried across various devices. So this is an iPad. You have your Yahoo Weekly magazine on your iPad, because you also subscribe to My Yahoo on the PC, or maybe the mobile phone as well. And within that environment, you get lots of different content. Because it's an iPad, you've got some interactive advertising. You've got your latest Nike Plus results down here at the bottom. You've got the Craft Kitchen Sink update right here. And then you've also got a picture of Obama, who's got some gray hair after the BP ordeal, but he's still in office, so he's won re-election. So that's a good scenario for 2015. Traditional new media is really sort of the dream scenario for some of the cynics in the room. So things have not radically changed. So in this particular scenario, people still pretty much watch TV at the same time. They still pretty much use their PC for the same sorts of things. Some of the media owners may vary here. So in this particular example on the right-hand side, you all know about Google TV, which is recently on. So here, Google's taken over the interface of TV. They've become basically the guide for you. Now, you can search for a program. So old content would be on demand. If you want to look at a program from 5 years ago, you can search on it, you can do that. But over here is the linear listings. People still sit down at 8 o'clock and they still want to find out what's running on TV, and they'll still watch that. And then down here, you can watch some live sporting events, in particular cases brought to you by LG. You can watch for free. And the last scenario is what we call media buffet. And this is kind of the doomsday scenario. This is the scenario that's highly fragmented, people consuming content all over the place. And the European Union has come in and said you cannot use cookies, you cannot use any of this data. People don't want to give us any data, highly sensitive around privacy. So we don't know where they are. This is the doomsday scenario for all of us. We need to make sure it doesn't happen with the EU. This is a very complicated world. So we'll take a quick vote. Out of those 4 scenarios, let me go back quickly. Let's see, who thinks there'll be tons of Twitter? Oh, come on. Come. Got 2 votes for tons of Twitter. Portal and me? Yeah. Traditional new media? Right. And then media buffet? About half of you voted, so the other half we're going to chase you, bring a break, and make sure we get your vote. Sure. Portal and me is consistently the winner whenever I do this presentation. Most people perceive that as the likely scenario. The reality is, depending on who you are and who you're trying to target, they'll probably sit in different buckets. And depending on which market you're in, it will vary as well based on the infrastructure. But anyway, that gives you some thinking around where things may go. I'm now going to turn over to Karen, who's going to talk a little bit about social. Tam's going to talk about mobile. Nacho Swanses is going to talk about online video, GRPs, iGRPs. And then finally, Steve Simpson's going to wrap up with data. So we're going to go away from 2015, come back to the present day, and talk a little bit about some of the trends happening in each of those areas. And I promise that we'll get you out this quite gratuitous sort of... The only consensus seems to be that Torres would play much better when he was a blonde. So someone's got to dye his hair in the next 24 hours, so it'll do a little bit better tomorrow night. So thank you very much. Best of luck tomorrow night.